Hello Pinball Expo, this is Nate Shivers coming to you not live from the Dutch Pinball Museum here in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. We're here to bring you a Dutch treat. It's going to be a showcase of some of the projects, initiatives, and contributions to the pinball community that come from right here in the Netherlands. And now I'd like to introduce the CEO of the Dutch Pinball Museum, Gerard van de Sanden. Hey Gerard, how's it going?
Mate, it's going great.
It is going great. We're here at the Dutch Pinball Museum. You're kind of your brainchild, really.
Yeah, big dream of mine is creating a museum. Started years ago, I think about 2007. And actually it happened in 2015. We went to our first location on the other side of Rotterdam. And now recently we moved in over here. And this is bigger, better, faster, stronger, and everything.
It's really amazing the collection that you've put together with historical artifacts and drawings and just pieces of pinball history along with a bunch of games.
And I really like that special stuff. If you tell people the right story about pinball history, they are like sponges. It's amazing to see how people love pinball.
It's amazing. Like we were talking about the community and how you're sort of the social glue to a lot of what's happening in the Netherlands with pinball. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are doing all sorts of different projects, and we're going to talk about those and talk to those people today. Yeah. And you're the middleman for a lot of that.
We took the initiative to bring them all together in the Pinball Museum. So you're going to see a lot of content. Like you said, social glue, and the Pinball Museum is like a social glue for the whole community into the Netherlands, and people will find it all the time, all the way, and we're loving it.
You should tell us a little bit about what we're standing in front of. Obviously, you've recreated a pretty famous back glass.
Yeah, this is, I like to call it a dioramic. So I started with buying stuff on Craigslist. Every item here is placed in there, and people can take the pictures into this dioramic of the Twilight Zone.
It's like the ultimate Instagram shot for a pinball fan.
Yeah, and a museum has to be Instagrammable these days. Never thought of that, but yeah, it's happened. And say, hey, that's nice. People wanted to show. A lot of guys into the pinball community, they take the picture, they make it their profile photo, and now my idea is that everyone has to have the profile photo on his social media account or so.
Gerard, thank you so much for hosting this day. Yeah. I think this is going to be a really fun way to take part in Pinball Expo from all the way over here in the Netherlands, and I look forward to watching the museum grow and grow.
Yeah, we got a lot of more plans in the future, but we keep you posted.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Johnny Mnemonic goes into the Matrix, and the Demolition Man is on steroids, and now World Cup soccer becomes Kill Bill. Let's sit down and talk with Pinnovating, or the man behind Pinnovating, Dennis van der Pas.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? How's Pinnovating doing?
Yeah, Pinnovating is doing good.
So why Kill Bill?
Machine. Why Kill Bill? Well, it all started off with the Walt Disney theme.
Clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, you see that, right? Yeah. I started with the Demolition Man actually to, it was like trying something, how is the speed rock thing working? How's the programming working? Because I wanted to do a Walt Disney machine. And Gerard with the Matrix, that just passed by, and we did the machine conversion, so that was convenient, to get some experience with that. But when I was ready to go on with the World Cup Soccer for the Walt Disney theme, I was changing my mind, because Kill Bill is a lot cooler, and I kind of like Disney as well, and I didn't want to put so much time in something you love and like killing it.
Sure.
Yeah, kill the love, so that's why it went to Kill Bill.
So one of the first things you notice when you step up to play the Kill Bill machine, you have a very nice big LCD HD screen.
Yeah.
But you also have a DMD.
Yeah.
So you've merged them both into the game.
Yeah, we have merged them both. I started without the LCD, and when we started converting the game, and I saw, I got the Gerard, we call him Mr. Ink. He's a professional airbrush artist, and when he started working on it, it became just so amazing, so much more than I expected, and we got so excited that he was like, Dennis, I've seen some clips, on the DMD, and I see, Buck ready. But I miss him, just like real life with this blue shirt on, and can we just do also an LCD? I kind of like the DMD stuff, and it gives you a little bit of that old feeling, you know, with
vintage.
Like vintage. And I know Quentin Tarantino also likes vintage machines, so why not do both? You really get that cinematographic feel and look. So
absolutely.
It was the best of both worlds.
So using the movie clips, there must be a lot of editing that you have to do to try and make the movie clips match with the gameplay on the playfield.
Yeah, you want to have a quick gameplay, but also with Quentin Tarantino, with all the dialogue that he has.
He's famous for the talking.
Yeah,
the
he's
words.
famous for the talking. So you have to do something like a clip of a minute or a minute and a half conversation, that long. You have to put it all in like 20, 15 seconds at the max. So every time when someone is talking and he has a little pause, you try to cut it out, without getting it to sound unnatural. But every half second, a quarter of a second, if you do it like 10 times, you gain 3 or 4 seconds.
It's really immersive. One thing I noticed about the game, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit, is I know it's a World Cup soccer. Okay, I see the inlay, I see the lights, I know what the pattern is. There's no soccer ball.
No.
There's a lot of changes though. You've changed a lot of the game. This isn't just like a reskin.
No, it's not a reskin. No. The thing you mentioned with the soccer ball, there was an idea to make it the ball from go-go, but I missed some shots in a World Cup soccer. So the first thing that I changed was the right orbit loop. With the Papadioc loop, you get the ball back on the slingshot, and the ball gets out of control. So that's what I don't like. So I changed that, bend it over. So now you get it back on your right flipper, and you can do a loop shot.
Yeah.
And also for some extra shots, I was like, okay, you have the ball with the stand-up target, and there's room for the drop target. So why not make it a lane? So if you make it a lane, it can go past where the ball was, it can go under the ramp and back to the game again. And also you can adjust the scoop, like the Attack from Mars scoop, to have it like 2 entrances. Spinner on top, so you get a drop target, you get an extra lane, you get an extra scoop shot, you can get the ball under the ramp and lock it there. So there are like 4 or 5 options added with getting rid of the ball.
And you have a third flipper at the top of the game that's actually controlled by a separate button. What was your thought there?
I like pop bumpers, but not 3 of them. So I was like, also to get the upper part of the playfield more interactive, I was like, okay, make a captive ball there with the third flipper and get some extra gameplay there as well. And with the World Cup Soccer, you have that magnet on the left flipper. So instead of activating the magnet, I use it for the extra flipper. So you also have to think really about it. If you want to flip it, you have to move your hand. Also in multi-ball, you have to, move your hands around and make it a little bit more difficult.
So what would be the next remade game from Pinnovating? What's on the horizon if you were to do another one?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'm thinking about retirement, to be honest.
Retirement?
Yeah, retirement.
Oh,
yeah. I've been busy for like 10 years now. Well, 9 years. I started in 2011, one of the first with the P-Rock. And my job is getting more busier and busier and busier. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. You have to do all the movie clips, all the sound bites, all the rules and everything. And I think it's maybe time, to at least for a year or so to move back a little and see what happens. Maybe something comes on your path, and I don't know.
Well, I hope something comes on your path. I know everyone who is going to see the clips and see this interview is going to be really excited to play Kill Bill.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
All right.
This interview is going to be with Joosten of Pinball Magazine, really more like a book, and the Pinball News and Pinball Magazine podcast. Joosten, how are you?
I'm good, Nate. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good to see you. We're here celebrating pinball in the Netherlands,
right.
And you're probably the first Dutch person I ever met in the world of pinball.
Probably, yeah.
So you're 5 issues now into the Pinball Magazine. That's probably what I think most people know you for.
5 issues and 1 hardcover book.
And issue 6, are we working on issue 6? Is it a distant thought? Where
No. I am definitely working on issue 6. It will be the delayed issue on Python Angelo.
Python Angelo.
Which is everybody who knows Python Angelo knows he was quite controversial.
Yes.
And in America they call it quite a character, I believe.
Quite a character, yes.
Well, I don't want to tame him down, but I do need to do a lot of fact-checking. And Python died, I think, 5 years ago.
That's about
and
right.
Prior to that, I spent 2 weeks with him, and we recorded every conversation, which I already have transcribed, which is 180 pages in plain text.
Oh my gosh.
And now I need to reduce that. So I'm editing that content into what will be the cover story of Pinball Magazine number 6. And the current idea is Python worked for most of his career at Williams, and then he moved to Capcom. So the idea is to cap it off at where he leaves Williams, and the second part of that story will be a separate issue.
I can't wait. It'll live on my coffee table. Your magazine tagline is "It's really like a book."
True.
And they really are like books. We joke, but they're really rich in material. How
Yes.
long does it take you to put together an issue?
It depends. Originally, when I was supposed to do the Python issue, which was supposed to be issue 3, at some point I decided to put that on hold. And I needed to do another issue 3, which became the Belly Heyday issue with Kiss backglass on the cover. I did that one in 3 months.
Wow.
So it can be done real quickly if I focus on it.
Now, how big is the staff at Pinball Magazine?
It's me and it's a couple of copy editors and people that I basically hire on a project by project basis or an article by article basis, in the sense that if I try to do everything, then
It takes over your life.
well, yeah, and that's fine, but it also takes a lot longer. The idea is source it out so I can work on something else, and at the same time 2 people are working on it or 3 people are working on it, and that way it gets done quicker.
Tell me about the podcast you've been doing with Martin, the Pinball Magazine Pinball News podcast you're doing every month. That's
Right.
I know that's got to be a lot of fun working with Martin, talking about the news, giving everyone a recap.
Right. At some point I figured, like, let's do a monthly recap of the news in the pinball industry news, basically, which is a newsletter. I send that out. And at some point Martin and I are good friends, and I was like, how do you feel about turning my newsletter into a podcast? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's give it a try. We both prepare the news. We compare our notes. We put them together so that we have a list of everything, and we just wing it. We just want to bring the news, and we don't want to talk about what we've been doing. We try to avoid the rumors and stick to the facts. And occasionally we try to get in special guests who can discuss the news with us. So we've had Gary Stern on. We did a special episode around his 75th anniversary earlier this year. And we were very happy. And Gary sort of opened up and talked about a lot of topics he usually doesn't talk about. He talked about the start of Data East, the closure of Stern Electronics, all that kind of stuff. We really tried to stay away from what he already told a zillion times. And we take it seriously, but we talk about it in a light manner, I suppose. So, and it's fun to do. And like I said, we're just winging it. But people seem to like that.
You guys are great. You're experts. It's 2 people who are really dialed into the industry. People appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate catching up with you today, man.
Likewise. I haven't
Absolutely.
seen you in like forever.
Too long.
And you're living in Amsterdam.
I'm in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So we should hang out and play pinball.
We'll do it when the world's not broken.
True, true.
Thanks, man. All right, we're here with Sascha Voskuil. Is that close? Got it?
Close enough.
You might know him better as ZAZA to the pinball community. Someone who offers a lot of technological advice, tech advice, has a great white Russian in his hand right now. So what we're here to talk about is a device that ZAZA has created for someone who might be disabled, missing an arm, missing a hand, have a hand problem. There's lots of reasons somebody might not be able to use both flippers on a pinball machine. And this problem came up on Pinside about 5 years ago.
Already, yeah.
And this invention is the solution. So I want to hear the story about how this came about and how you tried to solve the problem and where we're at now with this really cool device.
Yeah, this is still the first version and didn't improve it yet, but it came up again because of the customers here asked for it as well. This started with one guy from Pinside, Kerry Carmichael, had two friends, Kim and Todd, and they were always playing together pinball because Todd did miss his left arm, I guess. And Kerry Carmichael asked for a solution if someone came up with some ideas of helping them out. And well, I started thinking about a device, lightweight, simple device, cheap, and to play with one hand. And I came up with this, and I make some pictures on Pinside as well. And this is a playable device to play with one hand.
I was really surprised when I first put my hand on the device how snappy the response was to the left flipper without even touching it, using your thumb. So using fingers and then the thumb for the other flipper.
I've been thinking about pressing or pulling or other ways to activate the other opposite button, in this case the left button. But I think pulling with your thumb is another movement, so you can easily think in your mind to use this thumb just to control the other side of the pinball.
So start getting your brain to think left side is a pull motion on your thumb.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to use two different motions in your hands, and still you can nudge a little bit.
And this is a suction cup based device that you could move to another machine fairly quickly.
You can detach it with one hand, and you can easily put it on the machine in a few seconds.
So I'm sure you've had a lot of people test it out. How long do you think it takes someone to get sort of comfortable using this device and start feeling both flippers independently?
It looked about two games.
Two games.
Yeah, let's say half an hour play, and you have the feeling to control with your thumb. It's a little different, but people with one arm, I think they adjust easier because they already use their hands different ways. So I think people with one arm can adapt very quickly with one hand.
That makes sense. Absolutely. I think we're going to do a demo of the product. And do you see a future where you produce these and sell these or offer them?
The idea is because we're here in the Pinball Museum, there's a customer with one arm, and he asked if this device is still available. So this was put out of the box again, and after 5 years, new life. And I want to improve it. It has to be smaller, easier, and cheap, and it has some improvements to go.
Well, it's a really great project, and it's a side of the hobby in the industry that maybe could use more attention, some more inclusiveness like that.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to see us try it out.
Well, why have a wide version? Because I want to play with one hand, and on the Big Lebowski, you play with a wide version in your hands, right?
There you go. That's awesome. I'd like to introduce everybody to the man directing this presentation. He's behind the camera right here. He's laughing at me right now. He runs the YouTube page Ballen van Staal, or in English, we call that Balls of Steel. Let's meet Jasper van Eeden. So you're the reason I'm here.
Apparently, sort of.
You reached out to me and said, hey man, you want to come chat about some pinball in the Netherlands?
Well, actually, I kind of brought it together. But Gerard takes a lot of credit for that as well.
We've been talking today a lot about all the pinball that happens in the Netherlands. I think it's really a great thing that while Pinball Expo can't happen, you're able to sort of put this together so we can tell the whole world, really, the story of what's happening in the Netherlands. How did you get into this? Why are you directing this? How did this happen?
Rob Burke actually contacted me, the awesome guy who...
The man.
The man who makes Expo happen.
Yep.
And he had seen an interview that I've done with Gerard, the museum director. And he was very enthusiastic about it, and he was like, "So, what is happening in Holland? And can you give us some input on what is happening?" So, because we are doing Expo digitally this year because of COVID, and he was like, "Yeah, bring on the information from Holland." I said, maybe contact Gerard as well, because he owns a pinball museum. He's got a lot of contacts, a lot more than I do. And yeah, that's how the ball started rolling, and it became kind of a big event, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You showed me earlier that you're working on with your YouTube page, and I'm going to say this in Dutch.
Right.
Ballen van Staal.
Very good.
I'm trying here. Balls of steel.
Balls of steel.
Yes,
yeah,
balls of steel.
Right.
You're doing these videos that are sort of like it's like an educational, instructional, but in a simple format on pinball.
Right.
So
yes.
tell me how you got into that, where that idea came from, and how we can look at it.
Well, the tagline for my company, and maybe even for myself, is educated by experience. I think that education is important, and that it especially works well while you experience things. Well, this Dutch Pinball Museum is a very good example of education by experience. However, there's so many stories within pinball, and what I like to do is make them approachable for the general public that visits the museum. So what I do is I take these old stories that have been written down in books, that have been found out in interviews that you are recovering at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I try to make small snippets of educational material for the museum, but also for the YouTube public, so they can slowly but surely find out what the stories in pinball are, because these stories are almost forgotten sometimes.
Sometimes, absolutely.
Some of these stories people know that Humpty Dumpty is the first game with flippers, but they don't know the story behind that. There is a story how the flipper, for instance, came to be. And those things are so interesting to tell. That's sort of my thing.
And you're doing that now with the new technology. You held your phone up to the QR code, and then right on your phone is this really informative, quick video of the flippers.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the people can see it, but on Humpty Dumpty right now, there is a QR code, and people in the museum can scan that, and they will get a snippet of pinball history.
And you're getting rich off this, right?
Very,
very rich. You're making tons of money off of this.
Yes, Hollywood has called me so many times already, but I'm like, back off, guys. I need to do this first.
You're doing it because you love pinball.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
That's the
takes
story.
a lot of time, but I love pinball, and I hope people get something from it. You know, it's good to make the hobby flourish, and if I can do anything for that, then.
Well, I think you've done a great job organizing today. We're getting to hear lots of great stories from what all the people around the Netherlands are doing in the pinball community this year, in this socially distanced, strange year that we're living in. Check out Ballen van Staal on YouTube.
Yes, please do.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Jasper. Appreciate it, man.
Here we are in the Dutch Pinball Museum, and I'm joined by the Pinball Amigos. Hey guys. Dick, Baird, and Bas. Boom, got it. So, you may know them from their Minions pinball machine that they documented the build of over a course of a couple years on the internet. Tonight we're looking at their newest game, Crazy Mansion. Bas, tell us what the idea was behind Crazy Mansion when you first started out and you said, let's build another game.
You know, we figured a Crazy Mansion would be a really cool theme, you know, because it hadn't been done yet. So the beer started flowing, and the ideas popped up, and before we knew it, we were building Crazy Mansion. Yeah.
We've been talking about all the innovations that have come out of the Netherlands over the history of all the times. Like, walk me through kind of the basics of what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, well, the basic storyline of the machine is it's Lord Grimm's abandoned insane asylum, Lord Grimm's Crazy Mansion. And Lord Grimm is holding the ghosts of deceased patients from the Crazy Mansion hostage in the mansion. And your object is to free them from the Crazy Mansion. We are actually the patients from the Crazy Mansion, so...
I believe this. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So you actually have to free us. Beard mode is a mansion that rises from the playfield, and you have to go through a couple of shots to free Beard from the mansion. And with every shot you make, you see a little animation on the LCD of Beard getting clues and escaping. Dick gets abducted by aliens because he wants to, so he kind of creates a helmet to interact with the aliens. And that's his way to get freed from the Crazy Mansion. And what was my mode again? Oh, and we got
the upper playfield.
The upper playfield mode, actually. Yeah. So, but the cool features are we have a moving lower playfield. It's actually a reverse lower playfield. The flippers are also reversed, which is tougher than you might think.
Very difficult.
And when the lower playfield lowers, it reveals the full-size LCD. So when we play an animation of, for example, Beard escaping from the Crazy Mansion, then the lower playfield lowers and you have a full screen LCD animation. So we have a rising playfield from the rising mansion from the playfield over here. We got a UFO that abducts the ball over here.
So the UFO actually moves across the game?
It actually moves.
Wow.
Yeah. It there's like a pole over here that moves the ball up to UFO level. And it moves over here and electromagnetically grabs the ball and throws it in the sewer pipe over here. We have a trapdoor ramp. Wow. That's a kind of a funny gimmick. But the coolest thing on this pinball is our smoke machine, because we're the first in pinball with a smoke machine. So
how do you get the smoke back out from under the glass?
We actually have 4 fans in the back. And which you cannot see right now from that angle. When they activate, the LEDs also pop on, and the letters Crazy Mansion reveal over here in the backboard, and the sock gets smoked away through the letters of Crazy Mansion. So that's. So
we're looking at an attract mode, obviously, right now. How far along in progress to are you guys to being quote finished?
I guess like 5 or 6 months, and then it'll be fully playable and ready to roll, man. Yeah.
I'm not much of a drinker, but I'm assuming someone who drinks a lot would have a very difficult time playing this game.
Yeah, we never play it actually. It's. Yeah.
You should have a podcast, boss. Everybody else in pinball does. You should have one too.
Yeah, man. But it's because we got a lot of great inventions in the Netherlands, I'm pretty sure we actually invented the nail that started pinball, but I'm not actually sure of that.
I could believe that. Yeah. I can tell you guys have put a lot of time, effort, and passion into this. It's amazing. I can't wait to play it someday. Thank you guys. Thank you to the Pinball Amigos. Thanks for bringing the game up so we could all see it. And thanks for being a part of the Pinball Expo show, showcasing the Netherlands.
Cheers, bro. Take care.
Guys. This interview is with a man who's responsible for bringing so many pinball machines and their parts into the European market. He's the owner of the Ministry of Pinball. I'd like to introduce Bertjan Postma. Bert, how are you?
Doing great.
So the Ministry of Pinball, it's one of the largest pinball web shops in the world, if not the largest in Europe. I think that I hear that thrown around. The largest.
In Europe.
You've certainly been in business for quite a while. You've seen the big rise of pinball.
Absolutely.
What's that been like over the past decade here in the Netherlands, watching the spike in demand and the interest in pinball grow?
Yeah, very interesting. I was restoring games, and it was always the same thing. I had to buy that part from Germany, that part from the US, different stores in the US, different stores in France, to get a complete game. That was the reason why I started Ministry of Pinball, to have as many parts as possible in one shop.
In 2020, obviously, we've had a lot of interesting world events and happenings. Is that helping the hobby in any way? Are you seeing people working on projects more and staying in?
Yeah, we saw sales dropping very fast, but then after 3 weeks, everybody realized, well, this could be a long time. Let's have a look at the pinball machine that's in the garage and see if it still works. And it didn't work.
A lot of them don't. Yeah.
Let's go to Ministry of Pinball.
Yeah. Is there any game or parts of a certain type of game that you really wish were easier to find so you could get them to people out there? Is there anything that jumps off your mind?
We just added, for instance, the dummy from Party Zone.
Oh yeah.
Getting more and more parts in, different parts that weren't available for many, many years. The EL light from Big Bang Bar.
Oh yeah.
That's underneath the ramp.
And that's really specific because there's not that many of those out there.
But still, they seem to break down. I heard from a guy that he already bought 3 of them.
Oh, just to have them stocked. Wow, that's great. What's your involvement now in playing pinball? What are you enjoying? What's been a highlight for you?
Playing pinball?
Playing pinball.
You're kidding.
No playing?
No.
More into
Not even when I go to the Dutch Pinball Museum. Most of the times I just drink beer.
Well, you've been instrumental in helping them get a lot of games, though.
Yeah.
I've seen your name on their games for years.
Yeah. Supporting Gerard, his dream.
Absolutely.
It's a nice thing.
Absolutely. Well, I really wish you the best of luck. I hope business stays strong.
Thank you, Nate.
And all the best to you as we move on past 2020.
All right. Thank you.
Managing a pinball association with over 1,300 members is a big job. I'd like to introduce to you the chairman of the Dutch Pinball Association, Bas-Beard-Dick. Hey, Bas, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks.
So, chairman of the Dutch Pinball Association.
It sounds wonderful when you say that.
Right?
Yes.
That's a big title.
It's a big title, yeah. In the Netherlands, chairman means that you are responsible, but for the rest, it's the members that make the association. So.
Speaking of the members, when I heard that there was 1,300 plus active members, I was pretty blown away because this is a paying group of people who want to be in the association.
So, 1,300, and still a relatively stable number, but the members are getting older. So the average age is increasing every year.
It's interesting, we were talking about how influential the association has been, and the Netherlands is such a interesting country because there's so many different projects in pinball, from manufacturing to education to all these different happenings, and a lot of that was born out of the Dutch Pinball Association.
Yeah, that's when Gerard brought this group together today, then you recognize, I knew all these guys already for 10, 15 years. Gerard used to be a house painter, and he followed his dream. He became a member of our association, and then at a certain moment started this museum. You have Barry, also already more than 15 years a member of the club, and he said, well, I'm going to build machines. And he did. So yes, you watch those people going from young people to more mature people, and now
seasoned
businessmen.
veterans.
Businessmen in pinball.
So the Dutch Pinball Open is a really nice event that you guys have put on for how many years now?
Well, we started already in the 90s. We go back more than 20 years, and it's nearly every year, but this year we're going to miss out.
This year's tough.
Yes, this year is exceptionally tough. If this would have happened in 2017, we would have been in a real big trouble.
All the money you'd spend to get an event to go.
We had that Evoli 1 filled with nearly 500 machines.
Wow.
So if you have that everything booked, everything arranged, all the hotels, then...
Very complicated.
That would have been a very... But luckily, we made that happen.
So, and you have a large clubhouse, so the association pays you fees to get entry into the clubhouse also and play all the games.
When you say paying, you have to realize it's 35 euros a year. So it's not that you get
Money's money, man.
Yeah. Our normal revenues, I think 25% is out of the clubhouse. So that we will miss out on this year. But the money is one thing. It's especially not having the opportunity to get together and do the thing you like, play pinball with a group. And a group of 50 in our clubhouse is just...
You're used to a lot more people than that.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you playing a lot of pinball this year?
I'm playing every day.
Every day? What's the highlight this year? What's your go-to?
Well, for me, it's simple. I bought a Jurassic Park. So my family finds me in the game room every night. When they're watching television, they hear the cling clong on the background. Daddy playing the
chasing the visitor center.
Yeah. Yes, chasing the visitor center.
That's good. That's excellent. Well, it was really good to speak with you for a little bit. We look forward to a better year in 2021 and the return of the Dutch Pinball Open.
Thanks very much.
Thanks,
Good
boss.
luck.
Thank you. Jordy de Lat, how are you, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
So, Jordy's been doing production with us all day today here at the Dutch Pinball Museum. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Definitely. It was
Why did you volunteer for this?
Well, a while ago, I helped Gerard out with some designs for his new museum, and I've shot a video clip here based on the Black Knight 2000.
You clearly have skills. You've been doing the lighting and helping set up the shots. You've got some video background. So you've done your music video, which we'll talk about in a second. What's your background in film?
I work as a motion graphics designer for Dutch television. Okay. So working on shows like The Voice of Holland or Dance Dance Dance. There I've been working on several kinds of graphics.
So you know how to make things look good visually, generally.
I try to.
It's been good. It's been really good. So I got to see your video earlier. Was that your band in the video?
Yeah.
What's your band called?
Sector 8.
Sector 8. Okay.
Yeah, Sector 8.
So you guys actually covered the music from the game, the pinball machine, Black Knight 2000.
Yes, we did. I arranged the song and then played it with my band and with someone from France, Marc Papagin. He plays the trumpet and the French horn. So I made him actually come to Rotterdam here to shoot the video clip.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
In France, do they call the French horn a French horn, or is it just a horn?
To be honest, I have no idea. If I talk to Mark, he calls it a French horn, so...
They're laughing around here. That's a legit question.
I guess.
A lot of talent in that video. You guys are real musicians. Like, I was impressed that you took the time to go through all that music, chart it out, transpose it to all those different instruments, and, like, rock out the Black Knight songs.
So originally, there are, of course, no... trumpets or horns or even a saxophone into it. So I actually wrote those melodies as well. So something that would fit the main melody. That turned out great, to be honest. And I also needed an excuse for me as a saxophone player of my band to be able to play in the song as well.
Makes sense. So what was the thought behind like the pinball tie-in? Are you just a pinball enthusiast, a fan? You were friends with Gerard here?
Well, actually, I was already a pinball fan. I went here and I was like, oh, this is a really nice place. And so one day I called Gerard if it would be possible to shoot a video clip here. And he really had no idea what I was going to do. So actually on the day of shooting, he was like, okay, Jordy, what's going to happen today? So first I told him, okay, I'm going to ask you to... basically completely rebuild the whole floor because I wanted the people the music players to be surrounded by the pinball machines because all those little lights give a really nice effect in the background. So yeah, that.
How long did it take you guys to shoot the video?
I started around 11 o'clock in the morning and we closed the door at about 3:30 in the middle of the night. Yeah, and we were supposed to stop at 11:30, so...
Overtime it was. You happy with the way it came out, though?
Yeah, I am really, really happy with it. I think it's the most awesome video clip we ever shot.
How do we... Are we going to show the video clip? Are we rolling to the video clip? Fantastic, so everybody can see the video clip.
Oh, that's be awesome.
I am the Black Knight.
definitely leave a like or anything like that on the video clip.
Sector 8.
Sector 8.
That's awesome. Jordy, it's been a great day with you. I appreciate all the hard work. Thank you for trying to make me look not so crazy. I appreciate it. And check out his video.
Thank you.
In this next interview, we're going to sit down and you'll meet Driessen, the CEO of Dutch Pinball, the company that brought you the Bride of Pinbot 2.0, and maybe the most talked about pinball machine of all time, the Big Lebowski.
Barry, how are you?
Hi, fine.
So one of the big stories, I think, talking about the Netherlands and talking about pinball is Dutch Pinball. You're building machines again. It's up and running.
Yes, that's right.
The Big Lebowski is a game that hit the scene 6-7 years ago with a big bang, and some games were shipped and built, and then things seized up, and you ran into just years really now of trouble. But it's kind of a nice success story. The company's back. It's
Yes.
up and building machines. So there was like a dire moment where you had lawsuits going around the game, and it really felt like maybe it was time to give up on the Big Lebowski. What happened? What got you back in business?
Yeah, it was very close. I think a little bit more than a year ago now. I was like this close to throwing the towel. I've set up all my. I made an email sent out to all the customers mainly, and I prepared to take down all the social media accounts and the website and stuff like that. And I think it was a Friday afternoon. It was about around 5 o'clock, I think, and I stepped outside, just to take a deep breath, smoke a cigarette. And then I thought, I just gonna give it one more shot, because I was thinking about, how cool it is what we were doing. So I called one of the guys, the chairman of the boards from the ARA, and
that was the manufacturer of the game.
And the funny thing is, he didn't recognize the number on his screen, so that's probably why he.
Okay. So he accidentally answered your call.
Yeah, and I said, it's Barry from Dutch Pinball, and he was a little bit shocked. And I said, well, I have nothing to lose now anymore, and I'm just gonna do an offer to get everything, the games that were built and the parts and stuff. I mean, they obviously can't do anything with it, and they couldn't sell the games because they're licensed to us.
Yep.
And he said, I'm gonna give the other guys a call, and I'll call you back in 1 hour. So I did wait to send out that email. Yeah. And I think, about an hour later, he called me back and he said, we have a deal. Just like that.
Wow.
I mean, it was after years of struggles and, discussions, and maybe it needed that time, because I think if we would have done that offer, like a year before,
they would have just not listened.
So it was just that perfect timing, I think. And then I think I did the real transaction of a lot of money. I think the most money I've ever, wired. And we took all the stuff to a warehouse. And while we were doing that, we were looking for a place to go. And there was nothing free available in our area. So finally, with some connections I had, we found a place where we are now. And we put all the pallets with all the parts and in there. And of course, the 40 games were shipped from the warehouse to mainly to the US.
And then you guys got to work.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks.
What was that like to finally be able to build a game again?
It was incredible. I mean, I didn't think it would ever happen. If you would have asked me like 2 years ago, so this is going to be the situation in 2 years, I don't think I would have believed it.
Because your first games back, you were building by hand.
Yes.
You had boxes of parts on the ground.
Yeah. When we started, like a year ago, where we now are, and in the hall, we didn't have any racks and stuff, but we have like 40, 50 pallets with all little boxes of parts, and we just started building games,
Are you still excited to build the Big Lebowski pinball machine?
I still am. I don't do a lot of production myself anymore. I'm more like, supply chain and emailing stuff. But sometimes I do.
What's the timeline for someone who wants a Big Lebowski game?
I get a lot of emails each day, people asking me this. It's a few months from now on, so there's hundreds
of people would like to buy the game.
People, yeah.
What is the lesson you've learned about the idea of building a game?
Well, turns out pinball is hard.
Pinball is hard.
Everybody is, I think everybody is mistaken how complex it is. I mean, you see it everywhere. And when we wanted to build a game from scratch, we didn't have any experience with, a production of such a
complex machine. And I think that's why it's good that we, first started with the first company who built games for us. They were experienced for 8 years, I think, in building machines. If we would have done it like now, how we're building now ourselves, I think we couldn't have done it if we didn't have that experience with the other companies.
So let's pretend this is a job interview. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, Barry?
Where do I see myself in 10 years? I hope that we are still building games, and that we maybe are going to present the 20th title of Dutch Pinball and on Expo 2030.
2030.
Yeah.
Game number 20.
I don't know.
I like it. We're going to hold you to it.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching today. I really hope you enjoyed getting to learn about what's happening with pinball in the Netherlands. Hopefully next year we'll get to join you in person in Chicago with Pinball Expo 2021. Until then, take care of yourselves and we'll see you next time.